Welcome to the Grassroots Army Podcast. This platform is for common sense people looking for up-to-date, accurate, and truthful information without the hot garbage corporate media bias. The power of one can lead to the power of many. You never know what small act that you may say or do that may literally change the lives of millions tomorrow. And don't you ever think that you can't make a difference, because you can. Good morning, my fellow Michiganders. Good morning, my fellow Americans. Welcome to the Grassroots Army Podcast. I am, of course, your host, Garrett Soldano, and do we have a show for you here today? We have a lot going on, obviously, not only in our beloved state in Michigan, but also throughout our country and also into the world. And I'm going to share a video of what's going on in France. Okay. And I think this is very, very important to talk about because there is a movement that is growing worldwide, not just here, worldwide. People literally are sick and tired of what's going on with everything that this kind of left Marxist movement has been doing over the past couple of decades. And people are finally just had enough and they're standing up. And you're not going to hear about this too much on corporate media. Weird, right? They do never, ever, ever showcase this kind of stuff. And that's why social media is really taken over with giving people up-to-date, accurate, and truthful information. So I'm going to show a video of the energy over in France, and we're going to break that down on why that's important. Also, illegal immigration, all right? And also what's coming, unfortunately, here in the state of Michigan, because when you allow 13 million people in this country illegally, all right? Illegally. Not all these people are bad. Let's point that out. However, let's just give you the facts. If you allow 13 million people in, 13 million, all right, let's go do a little calculation here. And you think that 1% of that 13 million may be some bad actors. You know how many people that is? That's 130,000 people, folks. 130,000 potentially bad people. So let's be half glass full movement and say, okay, maybe it's not that much. Maybe we take half of that. That's 65,000. That's an army that is here that hates America, hates what we stand for, that wants to take down this little idea called America. And so the FBI caught 8 suspected ISIS-K terrorists. They've been arrested in Los Angeles, New York, and Philadelphia. They illegally crossed the southern border early this year. Now get this. They not only crossed illegally, but were released into the U.S. by the U.S. Biden administration. And what I think I read somewhere is that they were vetted. They were actually vetted. So how many people aren't vetted that get in that are going to do bad things? And it's coming. It's not a matter of if, it's when something bad happens. And who knows when that shall be. It may be around election time. Who knows? And also the Democrats are now running with the same old narrative. If it's not abortion, it's democracy is at stake, right? And it's funny. It's like pot, meat, kettle. The democracy is at stake. It's on them with everything that they're doing. So if anybody is endangering democracy, it would be this leftist Marxist movement. That's what's endangering democracy. It's not what we're standing for. It's not for America first. That is for gosh darn sure. So lots of stuff to go through. And I'm going to end the show with this is Bill Huizenga is hosting a pretty awesome event on Monday, June 17th, which I know it's going to be it's coming up quick. It's next Monday. It's the day after Father's Day, June 17th, 2024. I put the link in the description. But listen to this, some heavy hitters, man. So we're going to have, obviously, I'm going to introduce start the event off, get everybody fired up, which you guys all know that I'm very passionate about, do the pledge. And then Tudor Dixon is going to be the MC. And here's the coolest part about this event is Justin Barclay, our own, very own Justin Barclay, is going to be the moderator between Bill Huizenga and Jim Jordan. How cool is that? So if you guys would like to attend, the link is in the description. Click on it. And they got a special that's going on. It's $100 for the general public. But if you're a precinct delegate, you're going to get $25 off, and it's only $75. And to me, I know times are tough right now, but to get in front of that conversation, to be there with the energy, man, I strongly encourage you to be there. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the discussion between Congressman Bill Huizenga and Congressman Jim Jordan, and having Justin Barclay moderate it, I think is fantastic. But it's in Hudsonville, Michigan. Again, it's going to be this Monday, okay, 6 to 8 p.m. So if you can make it, hit the link on the description. Do your pilgrimage of freedom, as they call it. I'll be there, obviously, heading this thing off, but I'll be there to talk to you and answer any questions. I'll be around for conversation, that's for sure. But it's just going to be a fantastic event. So if you're in the area, or if you want to make your pilgrimage of freedom, 6 to 8 p.m., Hudsonville, Michigan, I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So we'll talk about that here at the end of the show, but let's move right forward to Marine Le Pen. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. So Marine Le Pen, her party just won the most seats in the French European Union election, and they are very far right. So watch the energy of this crowd and watch the speech, because it's in French, and I don't speak French, and I know a lot of you don't, but the captions are at the bottom for you to read. But let's just talk about how this evolved. If you guys have been watching what's been happening over in France over the past decade, is there's been a lot of people that have basically infiltrated their company, because this leftist ideology over there had this open border policy. Holy cow, does that sound familiar or what? Let's just have open borders and allow all these people to come in. What bad can happen, right? Well, a lot of bad has happened over there. And now finally the people have had enough, and they're standing up. And now the people are allowing their voices to be heard. So watch the energy of this. It's pretty fantastic. Kind of reminds me of a Trump rally. Here we go.
Mais j'en appelle à la sagesse et au bon sens des Français. Qu'on me donne une raison, une seule, pour garder sur notre territoire des étrangers qui collaborent avec une idéologie totalitaire qui veut la mort des Français. Les binationaux en lien avec l'idéologie islamiste doivent être déchus de leur nationalité et expulsés. Les Français qui adoptent l'idéologie de l'ennemi doivent être traduits devant les tribunaux et punis. Les lois existent, il suffit de les appliquer. Eh bien, moi, Présidente, ces lois seront appliquées sans faiblir. En quelques semaines, je vous le promets, la France aura pris toutes les dispositions nécessaires pour se mettre à l'abri des fichiers S et en totale conformité avec notre état de droit. Les mosquées radicales seront fermées, les prêcheurs de haine expulsés, les associations faunées du salafisme et des frères musulmans seront dissoutes. Avec moi, ayez la certitude que les droits des femmes aujourd'hui contestés par l'obscurantisme islamiste seront garantis à toutes les femmes de France. Avec moi, la sécurité n'ira pas à l'encontre de la liberté, en tout cas de la liberté des honnêtes gens. Je veux
Wow, right? You feel the energy of that? France may be back, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what's happening all throughout the world. We've witnessed it in Argentina, France. There's rallies going on everywhere because everybody's pushing back against these folks that are coming into their country, this open border policy, and they are creating havoc within that country. And people just had enough. And so that's what's going to be happening here next. Unfortunately, what we've seen that happened in France, in the UK, is going to be happening here. These bad actors who have infiltrated our country are going to start doing bad things, and the left's going to continue to push this kind of Marxist ideology, and a lot more people, and that's what we're seeing in our country right now. A lot more people are going to be standing up against this, and it's much needed, because what's going on over there is hot garbage, as I say. And if you haven't been following it, make sure that you do. You just to say one of her quotes: "Give me one reason, only one, to keep on our territory foreigners who collaborate with a totalitarian ideology that wants the death of the French." Right? So these bad actors have gone in, and they're basically creating havoc to take down a country from within. And unfortunately, that is what's happened in the United States with the Biden. I don't even call it the Biden bloodbath, because Biden's no longer, he never was in charge. I call it the Democratic, or the Dem bloodbath, that is allowed these open borders and all of these potentially bad actors to come in. Like I said, if you just run the statistics, just 1% of 13 million is a small army of bad potential people in our country, which is scarier than hell. Okay. And so that's where the left is starting to freak out. They really are. And I'm going to highlight one of my top 3 clowns, Justin Trudeau. You can see that he is starting to panic. Everybody who continues to push this leftist ideology is starting to get held accountable by who? We the people. So let's listen into good old Trudeau.
We have seen around the world a rise of populist right-wing forces in just about every democracy that we've seen. And it is of concern to see political parties choosing to instrumentalize anger, fear, division, anxiety. My approach has always been to respond to it, to understand it, and to look to solve it, to roll up our sleeves, work hard, and with ambition for this country and for our future. And I continue to be convinced that Canadians are thoughtful about the challenges we're facing and ready to see them solved, rather than just allow themselves to be have their anger amplified without any solutions offered.
I mean, it's almost comical when you listen to these people, these elected officials on the left. Everything is always sunshine and rainbows. They don't address any of the very issues that they've created. If you want to see someone who is jockeying for position for her potential run at the White House, just follow Gretchen Whitmer on social media. It's always sunshine and rainbows here in Michigan, folks. They paint this picture that everything's great. We want to be thoughtful. No, they never address the very problems that they create. And so they don't talk about them. They just continue to paint this picture. And unfortunately, there's still 35% of the population that buys into this garbage, but more and more people are waking up. Why? Because people do not care in this election cycle, like they did last election cycle, of abortion, 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 right? That's all they continue to talk about. And they don't understand that people aren't worried about that. They're worried about putting food on the table. They're worried about their retirement. They're worried about affording housing, renting, buying houses, interest rates, school debt. It goes on and on. They're worried about taking away parental rights. Those are the kitchen table issues that Americans are worried about right now. But they don't talk about those things because they are the cause of all of those things. And so they'll just continue to push out on social media, and they'll be backed by their flunkies at corporate media, right? To push out a narrative, which we have learned time and time again. Look what they did with the Hunter Biden laptop story. They censored it. Anyone that posted it would be taken down, right? So that's what they depend on. But thank goodness there's platforms like X who are allowing free speech to happen, to actually have conversation. And what's great about X right now, a lot of the left just literally gets their asses kicked, which they're not used to, because conservatives like me and others were censored and deplatformed. So we now never could allow the truth to be told over there, but now it is. And they get really quiet. I mean, they'll nitpick and they'll troll every now and again, but they can't literally defend what's going on in our country right now. They can't. I even asked a few of the trolls on my show to have a conversation, a friendly conversation, a debate, and they always say no. They either go really dark and all I hear is crickets, or they say, well, you're not big enough, But hey, I'm here to have a conversation. And if you can really believe that everything that's going on in our country is great and sunshine and rainbows, then come on my platform. And I would love to have a conversation with you, but they won't. Number one, they hide behind their handle. They don't even use their real names. They don't put their real face out there. They're cowards. They truly are. So I will continue to do what I do best, is call out that hot garbage, because I think the most concerning thing right now is November, winning in November, okay? Because you can already see the corporate media starting to freak out and running with this democracy is at stake narrative. So here, listen to this chick.
I've seen that toast a bunch of times, but it landed very differently this year, because depending on what happens in November, 7 months from right now, this time next year, I might not be sitting here. There might not be a White House Correspondents' Dinner or a free press. While our democracy wouldn't exactly fall apart immediately without it, the real threat looms larger. A candidate with outward disdain, not just for a free press, but for all of our freedoms and for the rule of law itself.
Look at that narrative, right? Now President Trump, orange man bad, is going to come in. He's going to destroy free press. No. He called your asses out when you dealt hot garbage to him. You imagine if the tables would have been turned, or if we would just had like an equal, non-biased press to hold all candidates? Well, that's a novel concept, right? Wouldn't that be outstanding if the corporate media actually did their damn jobs and called out both sides of the aisle and hold everyone accountable? That would be great. But no, if the same pressure was put on Biden that you put on Trump, Biden would have failed long ago, right? So it's interesting how they're very scared. You're scared of being held accountable. You're scared of a political candidate fighting back and standing up for what he believes in. And you know what? America wants that fighter. Again, we're going to go back to personality contests. People don't care about personality when you can't put food on the table. People don't care about personality when they can't afford housing. People do not care about personality when their retirement, the wealth that they have accumulated, is in jeopardy. They don't care. They're going to vote policy every single time. And that's why I've been calling out, people are really going to start standing up when it starts to hurt people's pocketbook, when they can't put food on the table and afford housing and just, cover their bare essentials, right? The bills. And that's what's happening in our country. No matter how many times that you see the corporate media and these elected politicians on the left say, everything's great, everything's sunshine and rainbows, we got all these jobs. And people are like, I don't care what you put out, because when I go to the gas station, it hurts. When I go to the store, it hurts. When I'm looking at my utility bills and all my other bills that are coming in, it hurts. When I have to buy a house or I have to move out of my rented apartment or house, I can't afford to live there anymore. That's the stuff that people are concerned with right now. And so it's just interesting how they continue to try to paint this narrative that everything is just sunshine and rainbows, and it's not. You're going to see a massive, massive voter turnout. And that's why we have to get everyone registered to vote, whether that be absentee ballot, in person. I don't care. We need to overwhelm it. So there's no way in hell that they can even possibly thinking about cheating this time. That is for sure. I'm going to end. That is something on very scary that I've been calling out for the last several years, is this illegal immigration, this mass invasion of our southern border. Now we're starting to capture some of these folks, but unfortunately there's tens of thousands more out there. It is very, very scary time. So listen to this.
Individuals, all from the Central Asian country of Tajikistan, were arrested in Los Angeles, New York, and Philadelphia. They entered the United States this year and in 2023, crossing the Mexican border. They were vetted and allowed to remain in the country. CBS News has learned further investigation uncovered the men had possible ties to ISIS-K, the terror group which claimed responsibility for an attack at a Moscow concert hall that killed more than 140 people earlier this year.
Scary. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Unfortunately, we don't have the manpower to combat tens of thousands of people. We don't have the resources. There's no way that we have the resources of trying to round up the tens of thousands potentially bad people in our country, these cells. And that's why it's so important that you get in your mind that you get into your mind in your proper mindset to know and understand that this is not over in November. This is going to be a decade or two of all of you continue to stay inspired, motivated, but most importantly is activated to take back your local elections, your state, your country, everything. We can't fall asleep. We're not holding a line after November. We're taking back lost ground. And so I'm going to do everything I can to continue to inspire, continue to motivate, but most importantly, continue to activate. And I know, and I get it. A lot of you guys that have been following me, you've been in the fight with me for over 4 years now, and you're tired and you're frustrated and you're angry, but you can't allow that stuff to hold you back. You have to continue to fight. I know we've been fighting against the unconstitutional lockdowns. We did unlock Michigan. We stood up for the kids' athletics. We stood up for the kids to get back to school. We stood up against the mandates. We're calling out the hot garbage with everything that's going on with the vaccine. And now we got the cultural ideology with the schools, but people are starting to fight back and stand up, and we're starting to take back local school boards. But we have to continue to get the right representation in the office at all levels. And it's our job to hold accountable all these people on both sides. I'll hold the right just as accountable as I hold the left. And so that is what we need, because so many people run and they say a bunch of stuff, but when they get into office, they backpedal, they backtrack, they don't follow through with why we put them into office. That's why we need Americans who love this country, who love this flag, that will stand up and take the hits and take the 3-letter agencies that continue to try to threaten and imprison for standing up against big government, right? We have to do those things. And again, I'm going to reiterate, and I'm going to continue to reiterate, I don't care about your past. I really don't. We all have a past. I have a past. I've done things in my past and I'm not proud of, but again, nobody cares. Just be transparent. Just be transparent with your past. And that's why if I ever will quit swinging at this thing, it will be because I'm 6 feet under. I won't quit. That's the only way that I'll quit, because I know what's important right now is for our kids and our grandchildren in our future generations. So that's why you have seen me not stop. I will continue to call out the hot garbage. I'll continue to inspire you. And that's why you have to get activated. And if you're tired and you're exhausted, that's why it's so important for you to make your pilgrimage to freedom to refill your cup. And that's why the next one will be on Monday, the day after Father's Day, June 17th. 5 to 6 p.m. is the major donor private briefing, which you can look at the prices on there. But 6 to 8 is the general admission of $100 per person. Precinct delegates are $75 per person. And it's going to be a great event. I'll be leading off that event, obviously, like I said in the beginning of the show, with getting everybody fired up doing the pledge, which I am very honored to do. And then Tudor Dixon will be the MC. And then what I'm really looking forward to is Justin Barclay moderating Congressman Bill Huizenga and Congressman Jim Jordan conversation. I think it's fantastic. I am looking so forward to it. So please, if you're able, get your cup of freedom refilled, because when you go to these events and you get around like-minded people, it does refill your energy. And so make sure that you get in there. And then I look forward to seeing all of my supporters who decide to make that pilgrimage. Okay. So until next time, God bless you. God bless the state of Michigan. Of course, and always God bless these United States. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. And see you on Monday in Hudsonville, Michigan. Bye-bye.